Listen when we get in.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not live to us yet. Now we're live. There we go. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Fine, I'll Watch It. I'm Smoking Fat Jay.
I am Matt Christy.
And I'm James Kopp, drunk in a garage somewhere.
We
Oh,
all
wait,
we all
actually-
fancy names.
Actually, we're James Lowe. Wait, what are we? Jamesel Coplow.
Matt Walda, Christy Phat.
Yeah.
Matt Walda, Christy Phat, and Smoking
Nice.
Fat Mr. J, of course. Smoking Fat.
As
Mr.
we
J.
should be.
So yes, we're here to review whatever's going on in Nerd, and I know we're a little late to this, but we are reviewing Batman: The Caped Crusader, or what degree each of us have seen of this show so far.
I knew what the assignment was. I completed the assignment.
He did.
I did not.
The rest of us, I might have gotten a B. Well, if it's incomplete, maybe I just didn't have to. So.
Yeah, I'm not getting a passing grade. It's okay.
Did you guys both know that Two-Face is in this season?
Oh yes, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
No. Actual Two-Face,
Yes.
not just
Yeah.
not just Harvey Dent.
I actually got up to episode 8 where I actually watched everything. I kind of fell asleep during 9 and 10 because I was watching it kind of late. And so I vaguely remember some things through that, but not enough to say I watched those 2 episodes.
I thought we were only going to do the first episode. I actually watched the second episode because I liked the first episode a bit. And so, but we'll get into it. But I was going to go back and watch more of it. But instead, I went on a bike ride and bought tacos.
He traded double.
Well, this is the same person who watched the wrong season of a show one time.
Yeah, he did watch the wrong whole season of a show one time.
And what was great was, like, I was drunk the entire time. So it was all right. Like, it was pretty good. Like, I was just like, it's all right. I didn't think much of it. Then I showed up and I had horrible notes.
As soon as we started talking, you looked at your notes. Wait, none of this happened. I'm going to just toss this aside.
So, we're here to talk about this Batman Caped Crusader show. Can we first address why is this on Amazon and not on HBO Max?
Because...
What the fuck, Warner Brothers? What am I paying you for? Why am I paying you? Good Lord.
We're paying Warner Brothers to dump off their properties either altogether or to other people. We can't get Warner Brothers to show their own shit. Are you crazy?
I mean, this was during that big offloading and the axing of things. They ended up they had this in the bag, I think, already, and they just sold it off. They just sold it off to Amazon.
Here's the funny thing. They did sell this off to Amazon. On Max right now is the Kite Man spinoff series from Harley Quinn. Kite Man, hell yeah. I don't know if either of you have seen it. To show you how old it is, Luthor is played by Lance Reddick, who's been dead over a year now, and all of that dialogue was recorded probably 3 years ago. and
Wow.
they just released the series
Right.
this year. It's like, okay, well, Warner Brothers, you don't know what you're doing with your properties. You're just throwing out whatever, and okay.
I know we bash Marvel a lot, but goddamn DC, goddamn, like James Gunn, do what you can, okay?
Well, I think
okay,
that's
don't hurt
probably the
yourself.
reason why they went ahead, and I'm willing to bet that they got a lot of money for this, and I'm willing to bet that the reason being is because James Gunn wants to tie everything together, and he wants to, and they had to do some negotiating because there's still the new Joker movie and there's still another Batman movie happening. But, James Gunn wants everything going forward to be his universe. The voice actors in the cartoons are going to play the people in real life, and he's got this vision. And so I think that might have been one of the reasons that they did that. But I still think this would have been great for Max. You know what I mean? Like,
well, here's the thing on that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bruce Timm created this series, who helped create the original Batman animated series. You have J.J. Abrams producing, But you also have Matt Reeves producing, and Matt Reeves also did 3 of the episodes direction. So this, being a done property however many years ago, was before The Batman was released as a film, which does still exist within the DC and Max universe, because the Batman, as they've explained, is its own separate entity from the rest of the DC universe now. So it's like, still, it's Warner Brothers just not knowing or caring what to do with their own properties and just kind of throwing it around and showing everybody how much they don't care. And it just...
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to kind of get away from that.
But they still
and I think we
made
should just
this, though. So I can't say, maybe the big wigs don't care, but, we're going to get into this show, but it's definitely a love letter to our youth. Similar in ways to X-Men 97 was.
Yeah.
There are some funny things that we'll get into happening in the alternate universe 1940s. Gotham being the most progressive place.
The most woke
By
city in the
far.
world with the most crime.
But yeah, it's somehow the worst and best city of the 1940s. But they, people, somebody there cared enough to make this happen, and I think that's
yes,
and I'm
like
happy for them.
there is a good amount of love made in this show. And I've watched the least amount out of the 3 of us.
Yeah, definitely. So should we get into it?
Yeah, let's do this.
get into it.
Yeah, let's overall, what are your thoughts so far of the show?
I'll let you guys go first because you guys have seen fewer
Yeah,
overall than I have.
I've seen it the least, so here's what I'm gonna say: it's really good. I'm only 2 episodes in. It has not yet gotten great. Its biggest attraction is its biggest downfall. Is that it's very much like the 1990 Batman the Animated Series, which we'll probably bring up 50 times in this review. And that's it. We were talking before we went recording. This very much feels like Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. Where it was like, here's a sequel much later to something that's amazing, and it's pretty good. So,
yeah, I've gotten pretty much almost all the way through. I really love this. I hope they make more. I doubt they're going to, but
I think they have the 2nd season greenlit.
Okay, well that's great because I really would like to see this keep going. It has that feeling of the animated series, and a lot of this is Bruce Timm's original ideas for the animated series before it was more tuned towards children, because it was supposed to be a more adult type of a thing. Actually, Batman animated series aired on a Sunday night after football, right? I think.
I believe so.
So I really dug this. I really dug that they went with a very old style. They went with a more traditional Batman look.
Golden Age Batman, original
Old
Batman.
Tech, a mix of a lot of the old storylines for these characters. Obviously, with the Penguin and some stuff, we've got some very different things going on. The choices that they made seemed very smart and still seemed made by people who understand these characters. Okay? The name, what was the name of Penguin?
Oswald de Cobblepot?
Was it Oswalda?
Yes, it was Oswalda.
All right.
it's a bit lazy. That's a bit lazy. That's all right.
It's all right. But also, we talked about the voice cast. Talk about the voice cast of this. Again, top notch. Was that Minnie Driver who does Oswalda?
Yes, Minnie Driver did Oswalda.
Like you said, Lance Reddick.
Oh, cool.
No, Reddick's not in this one, but Diedrich Bader. So Diedrich Bader is funny as Harvey Dent because Diedrich Bader played Batman in Harley Quinn.
He played Batman also in one of my favorite Batmans. One of these days, I'm going to make you motherfuckers watch this. Batman, The Brave and the Bold, which I think
True.
Even though
okay.
it's a children's show,
Yeah.
is maybe
yeah.
one of the best. And I think I'm going to put a pin in this. Please remember this. I may make these guys watch the final episode of that. The final episode.
Okay.
Because
All
it
right.
is,
You haven't got to it yet, James, but Christina Ricci is Catwoman, Selena Kyle.
yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
that. I did my stupid notes as always with these, and I did some research on this show because I needed more information. Because the first 2 episodes, like I said, are good, but I wasn't blown away by it, and I was like, "Why am I not blown?"
Is
And
that
so
one
then
of the
I started
Power
doing a
Rangers?
digger deep.
Who's this? I
Which
can't
one?
read any of these. So.
And the one she's pointing at, Crystal Joy Brown?
No. Eric Morgan.
Stewart? No, he's not. He's not. He doesn't have a profile on IMDb. So he's a relatively unknown for
Well,
movie stuff.
everyone's
but-
bringing it in top notch. I love. Again, I'm in love with this show. This is great. Just like X-Men '97, this brings me back to nostalgia. I don't think there's as big a things as X-Men '97. X-Men '97 kind of blew the lid off of a lot of things. This is a lot more contained, but again, this is a very much of understanding. X-Men '97 is supposed to be there from the '90s. This is fucking
Yeah,
supposed to be
yeah.
giant, explosive, crazy, emotional, emo fucking bullshit. And it delivered in that. Where this show delivers as a detective show, as everything that Batman really is. You know, where you get the gadgets, but they're not, you know, they're not super high tech because it's from the 40s. You get some great deep storylines. I don't think that you don't quite get some of those great 90s Batman animated series. You don't get a Heart of Ice. You know, you don't quite get the one with the girl, the ace or whatever. You don't quite get those in this, but Heart of Ice they did start with, so you know I can't give it a lot of leeway. But you know, you don't quite get that, but it's really, really good. It's better than we should be getting from
Warner
this
Brothers in
tossed
general.
off fucking
A
Batman.
show that was sold to
Yeah,
Amazon
right, yeah.
Prime
It's-
so they
it's-
could air it and not on our streaming service or television stations we own. Yeah, it's a little better than what
So-
Here's what I'll say. X-Men 97 is a direct sequel to the X-Men 92 show. This is a reimagining, so that it has to be a little different, right? Like, and I would argue they didn't go different enough a little bit. Like, they really tried to, hey, we're doing Batman the animated series again. And so, but we'll get into
So
that.
I enjoyed this the entire way through. I mean, yes, there were parts that probably were less than other parts of it in the entire thing. I think my main issue right now is that they teased Bruce's ascension into Batman in one episode, and that's it. They do bring up the death of his parents in one episode,
Right.
because you have to. It's a contractual thing for any Batman series. You have to talk about his parents'
Yeah,
death.
you have to. You have to. I forget every time I start watching Batman.
Oh,
or
yeah,
anything. I'm
he's-
like, what is this fucker's
Yeah.
backstory? Like, why is he here? Why aren't you hanging out with your parents, man? Just go be happy. And then I get the backstory, and I'm like, holy shit.
fuck. That's terrible. That's
forgot.
terrible. No, but there is one episode where it's brought up, and at the very end of the episode, you have this very different Bruce Wayne as a kid with his reaction to that in what leads him to become Batman later on. I mean, I can spoil it for you or not. We'll talk about it later too. But that I was wanting more of that, and you don't get that in this first season.
Okay.
I think with Batman animated series, the biggest difference between the two is that with Batman the animated series, it was a serialized cartoon in the way they did that back in the 90s and early aughts, which was you had 22 episodes to make a season, so you had to produce that much to go ahead and go with it in the first place. TV's not like that anymore. Even though this is only half an hour, you still are only required to do 8 to 10 episodes, and they did the 10 episodes for this one.
You know why they do that instead of 22?
Other than
It's cheaper.
It is, but it's still equivalently cheaper, yes, but it's also costs more to produce things nowadays than it did back in that time frame as well.
Sure.
But whatever on that.
Inflation has gone up for
No.
everybody. Grow the
I
fuck
know,
up.
no,
Not to
Like,
mention
start
they
making good
decided to
content.
No, I get it.
actually
But
pay
I'm-
their
but I'm
artists
saying
more
is that-
now because of strikes and stuff. So
Yeah, there's a lot of issues, but what I'm saying is that Batman the Animated Series, you have a lot more content to work with in Batman the Animated Series. This one you don't. But what I appreciate from this one is that whereas Batman the Animated Series would always camera pan off Batman beating the shit out of people or something bad happening to a guy in the villain versus villain confrontation, this time the camera stays there and you see it happen the entire time,
do.
minus the blood maybe, but like you see people get killed.
yeah, you do. Yeah, with the very first episode, Penguin kills her own son, and Batman just straight up is like,
Whatever. I'm not here for that. I'm here for something else.
Batman
Howdy doody
also in the
looking
first episode
motherfucker.
dangled a guy in front of a
Yep.
train. You know, it was like it's a more adult
Mhm.
show. And I think I'm only 2 episodes in. They have made it very clear. Hey, if you keep watching this, we're going to. We sold it to you as, hey, it's Batman the Animated Series Part 2 or Elseworlds, whatever you want to call it. And that's how we kind of
Batman
sold it.
Animated
But by
Series
the
Max.
yeah,
2
exactly,
X's.
exactly.
I-
Not Max on Prime.
Yeah.
Hey, we didn't
2 X's
Batgirl
max.
it, so be happy. So,
Speaking of Batgirl and the whole darker theme, you haven't got to the episode yet. It made me sad because we don't get to see Brendan Fraser as Firefly from the Batgirls movie, but they have Firebug in this, which is one of the alternate names for Firefly, and you see what he thinks, and boy, is that some dark shit. He sees the world in flames. They literally animate children running around
On fire.
fully engulfed in fire.
Yeah.
Because that's what he sees.
this show has already sold itself to me. Like, I'm gonna watch all 10 episodes, and that's always like the biggest compliment I can give a show. But first, before we get into a suckfest, let's go over what we don't like. Let's go over the bad. What is the bad with this show? I'll fucking start this. I like the old opening better. Your new opening sucks compared to your old opening.
It is interesting. It's very dark. It's very dark opening. I don't dislike it, but maybe it's just not fair because this is not Batman the Animated Series. Okay, this is Cape Crusader, and we are judging it off of the Batman the Animated Series, which is amazing.
Problem.
Which is like you're right. If this was Batman the Animated Series Part 2 and they didn't use that and they used this, I'd be super pissed off. Just like X-Men 97, if they didn't use the fucking...
Had to use that fucking ridiculous
But
over-the-top opening.
this is not that. So I'm going to give it a pass.
Yeah.
I actually like the opening, but
It's not
do
bad.
I like the old one better? Yes, I do. It's just great.
God, the Warner Brothers to the lights, the low build of the music, the Batman reveal. He has a reveal in his own opening credits. It really holds up.
Well, they
Like
kinda have
it's
a reveal
from.
of him in this one. It's
They
just
do.
very fast.
This
The moment it starts.
the reason
It
the
doesn't
reason
have the heightened music. Sorry.
the reason I appreciate this opening, yes, the Batman Animated Series is better. Music, presentation, everything's better. But the reason I like this opening is because Batman the Animated Series does the opening for what that show is. This opening does the same for this show. This show is more of a noir detective show with a much darker tone, and that's what this is showing. Minimalistic on the music, minimalistic on the images that they show, which you'll eventually realize they're actually stills from episodes throughout the series. And like the very last, and the only thing that changes is the last still that they show, because the last still is what's from that particular episode. Otherwise, the rest of them are just taken from different episodes and put together with
Fuck you, James Kopp.
with little music.
There.
So, but again, it's a fair assessment because yes, the tone of the music sounds similar to Batman the Animated Series, so they are trying to lift from that. The visual style presentation of what they're doing lifts from it as well. So, I mean, yes, it is a fair comparison for those of us who know both series. Animated series is better, but this one works for what it's for, so that's the only reason I too enjoy it.
But it does have some punchy. Well, it actually has a little more punchy
Yeah.
than the animated series. So it wouldn't hurt to give me a little bit of but
I-
also animated series, just stealing from fucking Tim Burton's Batman too. Danny
Yeah.
Elfman.
And
it's just a,
we'll
it's
get
just
it. We'll
robbing
get into
Danny
that
Elfman.
probably later in the thing. But it's like, yeah, Tim Burton's Batman, for as flawed as that movie is, was really groundbreaking at the time. And we didn't have anything like that. And then after that, we got the Flash TV show. We got Batman the Animated Series. We got like 5 different. Warner Brothers saw the opportunity there and started just giving us throwing money at shit to make it
We
work.
got
And I'm sure the
Smallville
notes.
first. All right.
Yeah.
Small.
But I'm sure the Batman animated series was
I like
like,
Smallville.
hey, the movie was a hit. Make it like the movie except cartoon. I'm sure that was Warner Brothers' notes the whole time. And who's this guy? Tim, what's his name?
Bruce-
Tim
Bruce
Batty
Timm?
Man? Yeah, Bruce Timm. That's the asshole. And it's like, that guy obviously was like, he took the idea of like, oh, the Tim Burton 89 Batman, I'm going to take that. And I'm going to take the old Max Fletcher 1940s and 50s Superman cartoons and give it that stylized look. Just do a dark version of those cartoons and that will give them the look they want. And in doing that, he really made something really special, which we'll go into in a second. But
All right. What else do you hate?
yeah. Why am I watching this on fucking Amazon Prime and not Warner Brothers? That is another thing I hate. I'm like, as soon as you guys said this, I'm an idiot. I spent 10 minutes in fucking on my HBO Max app going, Batman, where you at, Batman? And fucking, it didn't, I went over to Amazon Prime and it was there. And I was just like, I shook my head at my own TV. Like, just like, God damn it, man. How can you guys not do anything right?
I can't disagree on that one. That is, I mean, again, you go back to Batman the Animated Series, you get the WB logo that turns into the fucking.
It's on the Warner Brothers. Like, yeah.
Yep. It makes no sense.
I got a little upset when I found out it wasn't Kevin doing the voice of Batman. It was a guy doing a Kevin
Conroy, yeah.
Doing an impression. I was kind of like, well, fuck you. Like,
Well,
I was like, that was my natural reaction. Was like, fuck you for not hiring him or him not wanting to do it. I don't know what the
Kevin
situation
Conroy's
was.
dead,
so
James.
he cannot do Batman anymore.
Well, there you go.
So it wasn't a choice.
Well, that's why he's not. That motherfucker, and I didn't want to bring it up. He hasn't shown up to any of my parties
Bruce
recently.
Timm would have hired Kevin Conroy for this if he was alive.
Definitely.
All right, that's good to know. That
It's
makes
also,
me feel a little
listen,
better.
before you
actually.
get pissed off later, it's also the reason why Mark Hamill won't be the Joker in
Yes.
this series. Is because he said he would not be
The
Joker,
Joker.
without Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark Hamill. I'm waiting for the day that Mark Hamill and Weird Al Yankovic run at each other and explode into the ultimate good.
Oh, I can't wait.
Because that'll be a beautiful day. My last big bitch with this, and so all these are my bitches, and then my last big bitch with it is it's following the highest of high maybe for Batman stuff. You're trying to do a sequel, and you're the guy, this Timmy Bruce guy,
Bruce
whatever the
Timm.
fuck his name is. He's the guy. Like, he's the guy who made the first one work. And I did a little research today. This will make the 9th Batman animated series. This is the 9th time Batman has got not a TV show, but an animated series, not a shared one, because there's like 20 of those of his own, and that includes Batman Begins or Batman Beyond and shit, right? And so he's had 9 series. Anybody comes to me and says, I was watching the Batman cartoon series last night or last week, all of us think of one thing. As a matter of fact, anybody
That is us that think of it.
No, because I think Batman Beyond is definitely in there for a certain age of people. I think
Maybe.
Batman and Robin, which is just a continuation of Batman the Animated Series, is also in there. Okay? And I think that those 4 are all Bruce Timm ones.
Yep.
So like,
They are.
He did a lot of shit
So-
for Batman. He's done a lot of Batman.
With Bruce Timm, there was a better than average chance that this was going to be a mess and probably something that didn't deserve to be on.
Yeah.
Because
well, he refused
Bruce,
to do it a couple times, right?
no, this is something he wanted to do, and Warner Brothers was kind of refusing him to do it. Bruce Timm did the animated series, did a few of these other things, and then did some of the worst Batman animated stuff that was ever put out as well.
What?
Okay.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Pull it up right
So,
now.
I am pulling it up right now.
And I mean,
Boxing.
there's been and like Batman, the Masked Phantom, the Batman
Masked
animated series
Phantasm?
movie,
Massive.
which got good reviews, but it didn't quite make the money I think they were hoping it would
No.
make. You know, and so I know there's been some like hardships that haven't worked out.
Well, that was also at a
And-
time before animated movies really were making money.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that, you know, in the end, I think DVD wise, I think that thing ended up making money.
It holds up too. It's actually pretty well done. Yeah. So my biggest bitch with this is you're following one of the best, in my opinion, maybe the best Batman. Now, I know the best Batman show we've ever had, but one of the best Batman run of storytelling that we've had out, as far as just an individual group telling a series of Batman stories. It's one of the best runs. You've already mentioned Heart of Ice, and I think if you get me drunk enough, I'll rant to anybody about Heart of Ice for forever. I remember the first time I saw that episode. Before that episode, younglings, Mr. Freeze was a bank robber with a frozen gun.
Mhm.
That's his gimmick.
He was
See? Take that. I'm shooting frost at you to steal them doubloons. Like, he was the dumbest piece of shit.
It was a
And then-
ripoff, or him. Well, I think he ended up being a ripoff of a Flash villain, right? He was.
Captain
Captain
Cold.
Cold.
was a ripoff
Yeah,
of
like
Captain
there was
Cold,
already a
which was
fucking
was
Flash
already
guy
there,
Came
yeah.
out, I
motherfucker,
think,
and-
first, as you know. I mean, Batman still came out before, but
Yeah, and so
that villain.
they decide to write this episode and air it, The Heart of Ice. If you've never seen it, it's actually one of the best 22 minutes of Batman anything you'll ever see. Both because it compiles a bunch of things. One, a very compelling story, a very interesting villain. Batman does detective work in it, which is something some of us appreciate out there. We like him punching people too, but it's really great when he actually uses his mind to solve things. And what I didn't know as a kid, I watched it and I was like, holy shit, I don't remember that from the comics at all. I got to go back and reread those comics.
Nope.
I got like so excited because I was like,
you gotta
I
read the
didn't
new
realize.
comics now. Is what
Yeah.
you gotta do.
Yeah.
It's coming out in a
And
couple
then
months.
I went back and reread them, and I was like, "Oh my god, they wrote something far better than the comics ever did," which
Yeah,
was
what
an
what's
important
the-
moment
what's
for
again
me. As
movie, the Rosebud movie.
Citizen
it's-
Kane.
Okay, they ripped off Citizen Kane shit
Yeah.
throughout
Oh,
that
they
whole
did.
thing. Imagery at very least, but it was such a this again. Okay, we talk about Tim Burton's Batman, and we'll go back and look at that and think, oh, that's goofy now, but it was the most
Yeah.
earnest look at Batman that you've gotten since the 30s.
Mhm.
Really.
there were reviews that were like, "This is too dark for children." So those who think it can't be, at the time in the 80s,
100% correct. Batman.
yeah,
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns, yes, very much.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
still a wonderful movie.
McDonald's toys will tell a story.
McDonald's
um,
fucking got
To
pissed. And
to,
yeah,
to answer
that-
your question, Bruce Timm produced the movie version of Batman: The Killing Joke.
That's pretty
Batman and Harley Quinn, and Batman Gotham by Gaslight. That's kind of been his.
That's a
That's kind of been
shame.
his string
Okay.
leading up to
That's
this.
more recently up till.
But no, that's what. No, but that's what I'm saying. Based on his recent dealings with Batman, this
and-
doesn't necessarily mean that it should have been an automatic. So
Shame on you for having Batman, Me Too, fucking
yeah,
girl. That was.
yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Batman didn't need to fuck Batgirl, guys.
No.
We save it for the fan fiction. You know, it's like he's friends with Commissioner
Especially
Gordon,
and do a
and she.
storyline where he fucks her while Dick Grayson likes her.
Mhm.
Like, come on.
Right.
Like, that's even worse.
Yeah. And it wasn't even part of the original comic, so it just all was bad. But anything you don't like about the series?
I know I've been drinking. You know, I got in a fight with that writer. The guy who wrote those lines, the guy who wrote that concept. I was at a comic book convention. A guy we went to high school with is a famous comic book artist, Lee Bermejo, who works with this guy who writes comics. What's his name? Brian Arizello?
Yes.
He's a good writer.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He's a good writer, and he wrote that scene. But him and I got into a fucking fight because he wrote the Joker book, and he did a Q&A, and he's like, I don't even know why people like Joker. He's just a fucking sick sociopath. And I was like, then you shouldn't be writing the fucking Joker book, motherfucker. Yeah. Like, I was like, and I wasn't trying to pick a fight. I was being very honest. Like, if you don't understand the archetypes that is Batman and Joker and what they mean for each other, or what the backstory really means for just like that desire for order and that desire for just complete destruction, that most humans deal with on like a weekly basis within themselves. I was like, it's really smart, and if you don't understand that, don't write the fucking book, man.
It's a story for everything, you know what I mean? When you go, everyone thinks everything is a straight line, but when you go too far one side or the other, it's more likely a circle. You're more likely getting to the close to the same crazy. Joker who's over the edge, and you've got Batman who is skating the edge. And they both, and this is why some of the more recent stuff, the Batman Who Laughs and shit like that, has been so popular because you see a version of Batman who goes over that line, you know, which is interesting.
And so going back to our original point here, the original Batman animated series, you like Harley Quinn? Okay, they introduced her, they created her, and what sucks is their version's probably still the best we've had. And I know there's a Harley Quinn show that everybody loves, and I'll get hate, but I haven't watched it yet. It came out a little too far after Venture Brothers.
The Harley Quinn show is great, but they make her a little too much Deadpool in that.
Yeah, series. she is so far over the top in Harley Quinn that it's its own thing. It's enjoyable for what it is, but it's definitely not anything within.
I actually think the best version of Harley Quinn, put together everything, is her in Birds of Prey, which is a terrible movie, but it has two great things. Her and Ewan McGregor's fucking Black Skull, or what's his name?
Black Mask.
Black Mask. Those two things in that movie are fantastic. And I think she's the best version of Harley Quinn in that.
I did like the Suicide Squad when we got to see in her head, and while she was murdering people, it was all animated squirrels and flowers. I was
very
just like,
close to that.
I love that. I love that, where it's like somebody who is so deranged, they just see whatever the fuck they want with whatever they do to whoever, and so that was kind of more interesting. Yeah. Anyhow,
other than the end, so now we're talking about Harley Quinn. Other than the ending to the episode that she appears in this season, I think their take on Harley Quinn in this series is one of the better alternate takes and more realistic takes, which makes her a better overall character because she's not reliant on the Joker for any reason.
At least now, so far.
She's just a sick motherfucker.
No, she's not even a sick motherfucker. She is, her reasoning for doing what she does is something, James, that you would probably 100% be behind.
Yeah, no, he would be, You would be her Harley Quinn.
Yes.
I think you'd be like, let's do this.
Yeah, no, your takes on things you've written, such as supervillain, no, it's that reasoning behind why she does it. She is Harleen Quinzel more in this series than she is Harlequin, but her character of Harlequin is based upon punishing those who have all the money and the power and are greedy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's also a good look too. It's a
Yeah.
different look. It's more reminiscent of
I've
the old
seen
one.
I've seen images online, and I like that it's different. I like that it's not just exactly the same. Gonna do something new, do something new, and I think that's a good segue to talk about. Let's suck this
Yep.
show off a little. Like, what is the stuff we really like in this show? And there's a lot of good here. Like, good lord.
What is the second episode? Is the second
second was
episode?
Clayface.
Clayface one.
Yep.
Okay.
Clayface, as I like to call it, Dark Man, the animated series.
Yes.
If you kids like Batman, Cape Crusader, please go watch the movie, the Sam Raimi movie, director of Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, and Evil Dead and Army of Darkness.
Multiverse
His
of
film.
Madness.
They don't know those Spider-Man movies.
They know
They're-
multiverse of
fair
Madness.
enough.
Yes.
It's the old-timey Spider-Man. If you hit Italian or Chinese, you've gone too far. So,
Japanese Spider-Man.
yeah, exactly. So, dude, man, the Asian Spider-Man's the best one, really, if you're watching. But it's fine. I was, yeah, man. The second one, kind of the way they did Clayface is really cool, and it was really interesting. And what was funny is by the second episode, I was like, "Oh, this is the Long Halloween." It really did feel like the Long Halloween by the second episode. This is a really detective-driven story. There's a long arc. It's going to involve all the supervillains at a certain point, and we're building up to something. That's at least what it felt like, which is kind of the template we got a little bit, I think, from Long Halloween. And I will credit that because I can't remember a Batman storyline before then that had like one-off moments with villains building up to something.
The funny thing is this season essentially is the Long Halloween.
Oh my God!
With what they're actually building towards. The villains don't necessarily fall into the reasoning for the end of the season.
Okay.
Penguin is more the
Yeah, but no, the end of the season is literally Long Halloween because
that's fucking badass.
Because it is truly the origin of Harvey Dent becoming Two-Face.
Yeah, it is.
So
and it plays into a lot of things. It's the Long Halloween. It's Batman the Animated Series. It's Batman Year One in a lot of ways. It's got so many things. I think before we suck all the dick.
And you don't know Batman.
Listen.
We are three mid-40 geeks who have been reading and watching Batman shit for way too long. And we are telling you, there's only like, out of the 70 years of Batman, there is like 4 or 5 awesome fucking storylines. This show is standing on the shoulders of 2 of them. And it's like, holy shit, motherfuckers. That's really good. Like, that is, yeah. Sorry.
I think that before we suck too much dick, let's talk about the elephant in the room. This is the thing about this. Again, we touched on this. This is a very different 1940s. This is not our 1940s.
No.
There is not. There are very few extravagant public defenders that are black. There is definitely not a commissioner that is black. In this world,
You know,
there are not
I would
out.
like to say something.
There are not out lesbian police officers making out in booths in nightclubs.
I'll say this. I'm gonna say this real quick because I have a special point of view that I'd like to get across here. I saw that some people were like, "This show is way too woke," and they were mad about it. First off, do we need to save the penguin for the male gender? As a male, and yes, I identify as a male, no matter what people have told you. And do we need to save the penguin? Is that like a high thing? We need to like be like, no, penguin was ours. Anybody can play the penguin, and I don't think we should be that upset about it. As far as the
I give zero fucks about his gender bending anything, especially if I mean, who cares?
The reason why I bring this up is I am a natural redhead. I was born with bright red hair, and I was either teased or adored for having it at any point in my life, right? As a redhead, I fell in love with comic books. Well, I would find out later it's just because I was dyslexic as fuck, and so I like the images more than the words. But what I really realized as I was reading, wow, there's so many redheads in comics, and I really loved it. As an adult who loved comics and went to fucking movies to pay full price to see a bunch of redheads on screen, I'll let you know when I see them, because they have not been in fucking anything. And when we do have a redhead, they put him in a blonde wig sometimes.
Hey, the last,
so it's just like,
the
all
last
right.
Wally West on screen was black. If you remember,
Yeah.
that's from the Flash shows. They didn't even give you a black.
Yeah, and so it's just
And that's
like
unfair
it's like,
because my roommate's black and her brother is a redhead. So you could have done that
Nice.
anyways. You could have went that far,
Yeah.
but you didn't.
And
CW.
so my thing is kind of like, as somebody who gets really excited when it's like, oh wow, what redhead are they going to cast that role? And then I go see Star-Lord, Cyclops, everybody. I just see everybody, and it's just like, no one has red hair. Not one fucking. The person that does have red hair, bright red hair, by the way, is fucking Nebula. Like, they took her and just fucking threw her in a blue
the
wig, and I was just like, all
the
right,
Joker-ish from Gotham
yeah, sure.
was a redhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things that it's like, at a certain point in your life, you're like, you kind of let go of those things. It must be this or nothing else. And if we're gonna have hills we're gonna die on, penguin stain male.
Who cares?
You know why? You know why Penguin as a female actually works for this series? Is the whole story subplot of she has two sons, which she gave birth to. She outright kills one of them and tries to kill the other one, which shows that as a mother, she cares more about her power and everything like that than she does about the only two people that she gave birth to.
Yes, which
Watch
some nature series, ladies and gentlemen. Dads are all
Not just
about
that, when she killed her
the
first
kids.
kid,
And the penguin
when she
one.
killed her son in the water, I was like, oh, I get why it's female.
Exactly.
Like, I get exactly what you're saying with this, and it was great, and it built the stakes even more.
Honestly, that's a brilliant thing
had a giant
that I haven't
cannon.
heard anyone bring
She
up.
was shooting Gotham with a giant cannon, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm watching a children's cartoon. Like, she fucking had Acme written on the side of that cannon, was fucking like lighting it and blowing up buildings, and it worked. Goddamn it, it worked.
But it should have had the WB logo at the beginning.
Yeah, probably, but
for it to fucking be Acme.
And then she actually won, and Batman had to say at the end of the episode, "I have to get better."
Yeah, it was great. He and motherfucker was doing detective stuff. He was not being too brash. Couple of things in the first episode. One, he hung a guy in front of a train threatening to kill him. Two, he pulled out a paper clip from the fucking bat belt and picked the door lock.
Yes. A couple other things.
Bruce
A couple
Wayne,
other
do better?
things we want to talk about. The Alfred and Batman, like he don't give a fuck about Alfred.
No.
And Alfred,
not till the end.
Not great either. Hey, your parents decide. You want to go get some ice cream? Like, come on, motherfucker. Like a hug, something like their relationship. Don't. It's like, do the shit I tell you to do, old man. And yes, sir. That's it.
The episode I was referring to, where they have Bruce's parents die, and Bruce comes. So I'll guess what? Because I said we would. Bruce comes into Alfred's room in the middle of the night while Alfred's sleeping as a kid. And just opens the door, stares at him. And Alfred's like, Master Bruce, is there something wrong? And his line to him is, I want them to pay. I want all of them to pay. And then Alfred just kind of is like, well, I don't feel I need to call anybody. I'm just going to raise this child with nothing but hatred and vengeance.
Yeah. Alfred.
That's because of the opium addiction and him stealing the Wayne's money to pay for his opium addiction. If you tried opium back in the 90s, like I suggested, Christians, and you know what you're talking about. Here's the thing. I kind of, again, going back to the source material, Batman with that dumb design, I think it is a dumb design, the old Batman. and they're using it, even though it does not look as cool as what you had in the animated series. They went back. That's the old Alfred design, and so it was like, and he was a detective from the fucking. He was Mary Poppins as a fucking detective that comes over and decides to be his butler, and they're going with that as using that as your source material. That's what you're gonna have. I kind of like the relationship with him and Alfred. I'm only 2 episodes in, but the coldness that they gotta have to each other was nice. Was it was interesting.
Another
I should
great
say
detail
it was
is his, and whoever's doing the voice does a great job between Bruce Wayne and Batman.
I thought somebody who was dead wasn't dead,
Yeah.
and then I found out it was a different actor. Got mad.
Well,
Found out that first motherfucker's dead, and now I'm like rethinking me being mad about it.
So
you
here's
know?
something you're going to pick up on as you watch more episodes. Bruce Wayne does not talk to Alfred in the Bruce Wayne
That
voice.
was what I was gonna say.
Yeah, no,
When he is private, he's Batman, whether he's got the cowl on or not. When he's, I really do. In that first
old
episode,
thing.
when he gets on the boat and he's like, the only thing about me and you, Harvey Dent, is we ain't got a drink in our hand. Like, I love his fucking Bruce.
So
It
great.
is the version we got from the animated series, but that might
the version from the animated series was a lot more friendlier. This Bruce Wayne,
this is more
Yeah.
a Playboy
a
billionaire.
this Bruce Wayne is a dick.
Yeah.
As you
He's a dick. It's awesome.
as you get more into it, no, he is a dick.
I loved him in the first 2
And
episodes.
the
where
second
it was
episode when
just
he's
like,
when he's playing dumb with Renee Montoya until
with
Lucius
the
Fox,
Uh-huh.
who's
tries to buy off the
Yeah.
cop like at the police station.
and then
I was
later
just
the
like,
reveal
I love
that
what
he
you're
was
doing.
like, oh, she's a good cop. She's
Yeah.
a good one. So like he's always like even when he is playing dumb hot guy, he's playing Ken. When he's doing that, he's still being Batman.
He is
He's a detective. He's using that is to get information to find out what he needs to know. There's actual. I'm only 2 episodes in, but there's fucking actual detective work in this.
He
And then Lucius Fox showed up, and I went, huh?
uh-huh.
And then
He is a literal 40s male as Bruce Wayne,
nice.
which is pretty wonderful.
Yeah, which is the 3 of us. So
The villains, the ones they chose, and their portrayals, they're great. I don't know that I didn't like a single one of them.
hey, let's talk about that. We get Kevin Smith's onomatopoeia.
Yeah, onomatopoeia is in this series, James. If you know or don't know who that is.
Onomatopoeia came from a Green Arrow storyline first,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Green Arrow, which was, I think, Kevin Smith's first foray into a comic book series. And he created this bad guy named Onomatopoeia who can only speak, or who
In his persona,
only speaks in onomatopoeias.
Words.
Which was kind of a love letter to the old Batman 66 series where we got a lot of bam, pows, and this and that. But it's a very creepy villain. And it was in the comics, but I think they took it to another creepy. I mean, it's absurd, but it just shows, like, again, they really get into the broken psyches of these fucking bad guys.
And
and
the
Batman.
animated
Yeah.
series.
In this series.
Yeah, Batman the Animated Series made an entire episode to praise the 66 show. What was it? The Gray Shadow?
Yeah.
The Gray
The
Ghost
Gray Ghost.
episode?
The Gray
Go
Ghost,
back
yep.
and watch the original Batman the Animated Series.
The-
There's like a Gray Ghost or Gray Shadow episode. And it's basically the animated show sucking off the cock of the fucking horrible by everybody's account, including the people on it, Batman TV show from the 60s.
There is a Grey Ghost Easter egg in this series.
Oh wow, okay.
They put in a King Tut. It's justified.
What is it, 4? Is it episode 4?
Whatever the Harley Quinn
It's the
episode
Harley
was.
Quinn one,
Yeah.
4 or 5. Harley Quinn episode has some major 66 Easter eggs. Not only 66,
Really?
just, I mean, Brave and the Bold, all kinds of shit. Because
Yeah.
you got Calendar Man, right?
Yeah.
You got King Tut. Do you got Eggman in there?
And look, he was not in this
He's
one.
not?
I was like,
Who's
it's
the
a
other
it was
ones?
perfect opportunity to put in there. I don't remember who the king
There's
was.
other ones.
Because they're so obscure, I don't remember all the names. But no,
But there's like 5 different, looking like Batman 66 style.
and it's like,
That guy.
and it's the
Okay.
perfect way to bring them in. It's like, all right, I accept. I
Yeah.
accept King Tut being in this series because of what they did with him.
Right.
So
Because they're not making him anything other than this is a crazy person that thinks they're this thing to fight the Batman.
Yep.
Which is another good thing about the Batman. This is something that I've always loved about the Batman. And this is why I've always had problems with these series that try to bring the Joker or any of these people like Gotham, where they try to bring all these bad guys in before there's a Batman. Batman makes these people be these absurd things because he decides to dress up like a bat. Before that, before Batman, it's gangsters. It's mob shit, right? The first 10 years of Batman was mob shit, all right? Why is there a Joker? There's a Joker because there's a guy that dresses like a bat and fights crime. So a guy decides who's crazy to be a fucking clown to thwart him, right? It's almost just like an irony to him. Oh, I'm going to be the clown because I think you're a fucking clown for dressing up like a bat and fighting crime. All right, and then that breeds all these things. Like you might have these little nods where the Penguin is maybe kind of a mob guy, and because he's fat and short, they call him a penguin. Whatever, okay? Or his laugh makes him, but you know, for the most part, it's absurdity.
Not to pull out the crazy Alan Moore, but I do believe in the Watchmen sort of concept of villains started it by wearing masks. They would wear masks to commit their crimes, and then one day, one of the cops, I think it's the first Night Owl says, we got the joke. Why don't we wear masks as well?
Yeah, and that's
not
not
bad
bad either. But it's still it needs to. There's an uptick when you are not only wearing a mask, you're dressing like an owl.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And still when he
where's
was,
the ceiling here?
When he was saying that, it wasn't that the bad guys were dressing like weird shit at the time. They were just literally wearing masks. And then the heroes
covering their face so they don't get
upped
caught.
the ante, which made the villains up the ante. So it still works, but that's where it. Yeah, either way.
you have Bullock and Fly being actual corrupt cops the entire series.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing redeemable about them whatsoever. Which you got
the Penguin gal killed her one of her kids on the hunch from a corrupt cop, and I was like, "What? This is gonna get dark." This is episode 1, and it was like he was like, "Hey, a little fishy birdie penguin told me the short one did," and she was like, "Cool, wait here. I'm gonna go kill my kid." It's just like, wow, this gets dark fast. It's a show that is not afraid to get like really dark fast.
Bullock kills Firebug.
Yep.
Like in cold blood, kills Firebug. Is photographed doing that, and it's spun to make him the hero because Firebug was torching a building.
Yep.
That is this series, and that is one of the great things about it is like
Same thing
nope,
with like
we're
Harvey Bull or not?
dead.
With Harvey Dent, like they give him again. They give these people broken psyches, but they don't redeem them for it.
No.
You know what I mean? Which is good. Because I think there's too much. Okay, well, here's something. I think there's too much. Here's an excuse for the reason why you did a bad thing, while a huge percent of people that have the same problem as you don't do that bad thing. And sometimes it's your personal responsibility that makes you like, yes, you're going through a more difficult thing than most people are, but still most people who are going through that difficult thing don't do the shit you're doing. You know?
Yeah, it's Hollywood's obsession with nurture over nature. Is the idea you're not a bad guy, you're a bad guy because bad things happen to
Yeah.
you. And I hate to tell Hollywood or all the great writers of the world this, some people are born assholes. Like some people are born just pieces of shit. It is not trauma. Some people are formed by trauma, and that still plays a major part. But I have met plenty of people who had a great life no matter what, and they are pieces of shit. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It just is what it is. Because we are all beautiful, horrible snowflakes.
The Gentleman Ghost.
The gentleman
The Gentleman Ghost in this series hates poor people.
hates poor people.
Like was brought up in money, but hates poor people because he blames them for his
First off,
problems.
we all hate poor people, even poor people.
But he actually hates poor people. I will say this though. Maybe a negative. I'm not sure because I mean the episodes were enjoyable, but there's 2 episodes where they bring the supernatural into it, and I don't know that for the overall that was the best choice per se. Not that I hated the episodes, but
That's kind of as somebody who doesn't know yet, that's kind of exciting. Like it's like, well, that
It's a tough thing with Batman.
yeah, because Batman's based in reality, based in what he can prove and everything like that, and even
Batman's based in reality who goes out into space and fights
That's-
aliens. Okay,
Yeah.
you know, it's like
but for the world that this is, Clayface is believable because pseudoscience, whatever, make the serum do your face. But there is like pure supernatural in 2 episodes, which goes beyond that. And again, I didn't hate the episodes, but for what the tone for the rest of this season is, and what the show has shown so far, seems like it's not necessarily in congruence with everything else.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it's if they go into the supernatural, like, but it still kind of gets me a little excited because it's like then there's no boundaries to what they're willing to go to or do in this show, which that's good to hear.
yeah, like I said, the episode I don't hate, but yeah, that'd be one I guess negative. Going back to that just a little bit, but for the rest of it, the tone that they kill people, that there are consequences for people's actions in this that are shown is all wonderful.
All right, before we get to moving forward, why don't we go through and everybody say what their favorite moment has been so far? Has there been a moment that was like, oh my God, I'm gonna keep watching this show?
As you're coming back, Jared, we're going to name our favorite moments from the show. Or our fun.
Favorite moment?
I mean,
Moments or moment? Like if you got more than one, you got more than one.
My favorite moment in the
Yeah,
whole show.
in
Okay,
this so
Yeah.
far in
you're
this.
gonna have to give me a moment.
this
If
show.
anybody has another one,
right.
tell me.
You haven't got to it, but my favorite overall moment was building up towards a realistic Two-Face, which, when you see it, will seem like it's a ripoff of what Nolan did with him as well. Except that obviously in Nolan's version of Batman with Harvey Dent was a much better person than the Harvey Dent in this series.
It always it kind of made me laugh. The Dark Knight is so fucking good. No notes.
Yeah.
Like it's like it, but it's not the comic,
No,
folks.
no.
Like it is, which is a good thing. I think it's so great that I'll still watch the Dark Knight every now and again. And when I first heard it announced that it was going to be, fucking the guy from 10 Things I Hate About You was playing Joker, I was like, lame. And it was going to be Joker and like Two-Face. I was like, good Lord, like that's too much for. If you watch Batman Begins and then like, hey, the next movie he's gonna fight Joker and Two-Face, you'd be like, no, he's not. Like, no, he is not. After Batman Begins, like it's a very slow, well thought out storytelling wise, Batman
The most
story.
outrageous thing is Batman in that movie.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's ninjas.
Yeah,
But
but
so what's
I do bring up the Dark Knight, and the reason why I bring it up is because it changes the source material a lot. And none of us were really that pissed about it because it was really good. If you're gonna change the source material, if you're good, no one will say shit. If you suck, everybody's gonna rip you apart. And so it's that thing. You can either play it safe and go with what has already been done, or you can do something new. And know in doing something new, you better be good.
Agreed. So, that being said, what was your favorite part in this whole series?
Good Lord,
that's what I
man.
said. For me, the build up to Harvey Dent becoming
I'll
Two-Face
go
and
next.
the whole execution of that.
I'm only 2 episodes in,
Okay.
and there's already been like 3 great moments.
So, what was your
you know,
favorite
where-
moment out of those 2 episodes? First 2 episodes.
God, Batgirl looking over and seeing Batman, him turning on the light to give her a face and then leave. And I was just like, that's such a great character development moment, both for Batgirl and who Barbara Gordon is, and it's a Batman moment. It's the Long Halloween Batman disappearing. Oh man, when they get it right in this show, man, they get it right.
I thought of something else. I just realized this series is the first time where Batman's ever caught seen going out the window. Because one of the times he goes into Barbara's office, Barbara actually turns before he fully leaves and sees him just getting ready to climb out the window. I was like, hey, it happened for once. Somebody actually saw him. They didn't turn their back long enough for him to just disappear completely. So.
We had that same. Me and Christensen had that same thing with Scream 3 when somebody threw a knife and the butt hit the guy in the head, and we were like, finally, like at that point, 20 years of film watching, the knife always went blade into the person, never once hitting them with the handle.
That's not true. Crocodile Dundee. He flipped that knife over and purposefully.
Well, that was purposely.
Did butt first.
Really?
That's the
first one I remember.
But again, that was purposely. That's not. You're throwing a knife in the intention to kill somebody. It's always going to be a kill or a hit. This was I hit the wrong end because that's more likely going to happen, or hitting on the side or some weird angle that it's not going to do any damage. So.
I don't have the science on it, but my guess is if you threw a knife at a person, 50% of the time they would get hit with the
Especially
handle.
if you're not trained.
25 at best, because it might hit long ways either side.
All right. So, a revised comment. Only 25% of the time are you going to get stabbed.
Yeah, just 25% at best.
25% of the time. And me and Christensen, who had watched a lot of fucking films by that point, had only seen people 100% of the time getting hit with a knife.
TV, video games, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is how it works, all right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Man, best part. I don't even know. I just really love this series. There's so many things to love that it's really hard for me to point that out. Maybe I would come to your conclusion that the Harvey Dent reveal, which it is one of the very vivid parts that I do remember that I didn't watch it all the way in, is that moment when Bruce Wayne makes Harvey Dent go to dinner with him.
Yep.
And just that moment, it was great. It again, there's so many elements that they're pulling from several different places that I think they land so well in this series. I can't recommend it more. I think we got to go to ratings.
One side thing for ratings. I also enjoy the Spider-Man. They were talking about before, and the Spider-Man physics of Batman's grappling gun.
Oh yeah,
it's going to grab on something above him, but he's on the docks. There's no tall building. It's going to grab onto something.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. When we're talking about fantasy and sci-fi, and especially what is designed for young adult fantasy, which is most of geek culture, I'm in the boat. I understand that I love children's shit. I get it. But it's we do look at the logic for it, but at the same time, yeah, Spider-Man shoots his web in the air, it hits a building, he pulls on it, he flies through the
things.
air. All right.
Yeah.
Two
Like,
things.
no,
I
Yeah,
don't
no,
need,
no,
we're not going to talk
I
about
don't
it any
need
further. He's in
Spider-Man's.
Kansas.
I don't need Spider-Man's webs or Batman's grappling hook to hit anything in the air.
No,
I
makes
also
sense.
yeah.
don't
I know,
need.
it's
I don't
so-
need their eyes to not move either. Those
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
things can happen in
I-
live action, comics, video games, all for the rest of your time, and I'm fine with that.
No,
Yeah, but-
again,
yeah.
I just enjoy it. I just enjoy it. It's like, oh, use the Spider-Man physics. Cool. I'm fine with it. It's all good.
All right.
What is the rating?
What are the ratings?
A 5.
No, but what is it?
Oh, it's the bat signal on or off.
Oh, on or off fat signals. All right,
It's
cool,
Nice.
cool.
All right.
I've seen the least amount, so if you want me to go
Go
first, I'm giving.
James,
Two for the two
James.
episodes I've seen.
Yeah, I've only seen 2 episodes, so mine might be like the lowest of the low of it, but I'm still gonna give it kind of high because of what I've seen. I've really liked. The biggest compliment I can give a show or anything these days is I was focused on it while I was watching it. I have a smartphone, a laptop, I have tablets, I have all the things I could ever want at my disposal. And once I started getting into this show, which took a couple of minutes, but it didn't take long, once I got into it, all that shit went away and I was just watching this show. I didn't even write my stupid fucking notes for this show about reviewing it because I was too focused on watching the show, which is my biggest compliment I can give it. There are some problems I have with it, so I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
All right.
Still, that's
All right.
it's high praise for James Kopp.
It's good. It's better than the other Batman shit
Listen,
you're currently
we
watching.
either
whatever
have
you're watching.
this or we have it's the worst show ever made, 2 out of 5. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's twice that.
It's better than the Marvels.
It's at least
Double
twice
good.
that.
It's
Double good than the
twice
worst
as
show
good
ever
as
made.
the Marvels.
You go because
I'll
you
go.
watched the most.
I didn't watch most. I'm giving it 4.5. It is not perfect. I mean, really, Batman animated series isn't perfect either because there's a lot of filler type stuff, kitty
I
type stuff.
like the animation in the animated series more
Yes,
than this one.
yeah, but even that,
I think they spent more money. I think they spent more money on the old show. I don't have proof. I have no facts.
I don't. They didn't on the animation. That's for certain because this is coming off of X-Men, where they did
They
the.
had more resources, but I don't know that they paid the same amount of money for it.
Yeah, no.
So I will grant you that comparatively, the resources and the people, the slave labor that they had, was more readily available in the 90s
The
than it
Korean,
is
the
now.
Korean and Chinese
But they
animation market.
probably literally paid more money for this.
To the Korean people that have been changing
Yes.
laws to finish
Yeah, draw
this
the- draw
show,
this-
you're
draw this
doing
bit,
great
yeah.
work. Like, I know the world, life is not fair, the world's horrible, but you guys are doing fucking...
Kim Jong-un.
The animated series still stands far and above any other animated version of Batman that there is. But no, for what this is, 4.5, it is a very good show. It takes the concept of a 40s just starting Batman, no real tech or anything like that, and putting it into a world that, other than a few supernatural things, is as realistic as it can be.
He does detective.
No, he does detective work. I know. He solves what's going on. It's wonderful. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy the other 8 episodes, James, and Jay, you'll enjoy the other 2. And I look forward to the second season. The other thing is I don't know that I necessarily want the Joker. There's the Joker's tease at the very end of this season. So we'll see. But for what it's been so far, I don't know that I necessarily want a Joker, but I also don't want 40s Joker, who says boner a lot.
Well, I mean, all right. I've only missed 2 episodes ish. I'm gonna give this a 5 because I'm
fine.
gonna say, I mean, I feel like both of you guys are taking too much of the animated series and the other Batman stuff into this. I really want to
It's-
take this on its own, what it is presenting. I understand that it is a alternate version of the animated series, but it's really its own thing. And
It
I
is,
think
and you're a better human. You're a better human than me.
I think that compared to the other 3 pieces of shit that you told me this guy
Yeah.
made before this,
Yeah.
like I want to give it a 6 because okay, but for this,
six out of 5 killing
Yeah.
jokes.
6 out of 5.
yeah,
Killing
6
jokes.
out of 5 killing jokes. Did we change it to that?
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, it is a 6 out of for the Killing Joke show movie. Oh,
it's for what it is, for giving me a Batman again. Like I haven't gotten a detective Batman story since the video games, really, when I'm doing it on my own, and barely that. Also,
and in the comics, maybe The Long Halloween was the last time we got a good one. Like, and that's over 10 years
right,
old now.
and we just animated that series, and it wasn't as good. We just animated that, and it
Yeah.
wasn't as good as this.
No.
It was a 2-parter that wasn't as good as this because their animation.
When I said
movies-
10, how many years am I off by?
I'm gonna look that up
Oh.
right now to make us feel old.
20.
Please, like, when did
I
the
think
Long
it's at least
Halloween-
20.
Yeah, 2000. Wait, 20 would be 2004.
Yeah.
I think so. What?
Oh
Batman
God.
Long
my
Halloween
My rating's 5 out of 5,
was.
or 6 out
Oh,
of 6.
fucking show me the date.
It's
It was really 20
Release
years
date.
ago. I'm gonna turn into the
2008.
Nazi
Oh,
from like.
that's not, I don't want the
Last
fucking
Crusade.
movie. Oh,
Nothing.
god damn it.
I think it was 2006.
Long Halloween comic. I'm getting there eventually.
I got lucky because I knew. I
It's in
knew.
the
fuck.
90s.
I knew
Oh,
comic-
fuck.
Is it in the 90s?
Between 96 and 97.
Is
It's
what?
Long
almost
Halloween.
26.
It's
It
almost
is
30
not.
years old.
Almost 30 years old.
It
90,
is not. That's
90
a lie. I don't care what anybody told you.
97
That's a lie.
was when it was released.
Oh yeah.
I had a feeling that it was like, I'm pretty sure it was before the 2000s that that came out. Yep.
I was worried that it was before the 2000s, and then you said that.
So I didn't read it on its initial release. Right as it ended, they came out with like a hard copy of it, or
a full bound.
the
yeah.
whole bound, and I read it there, and that was just amazing. Now I know some comic book geeks out there didn't like the Long Halloween because they were saying reading it 1 month at a time wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Where it was like making you wait a whole year for the reveal just got boring after a while, and I understand that point
Which
of
is
view.
funny because then Civil War happened, and fuck, talk about waiting for
But
something that you.
You know what? You're not gonna meet any geek that's like, you know what I love? The ending of
No,
Civil War.
no.
Like it's like
No, nobody is. But my point being that Long Halloween was a monthly release. 13 months. It was a monthly. It stayed on the monthly. Civil War, the biggest thing pushed by Marvel,
Was all
and
over the place.
was only it was only 6 issues for the actual Civil War, with everything else happening in other issues
Took 2 years.
of other thing. Took 2 years, and it took like 6 months between issue 5 and issue 6, and issue
It
6
took
had
2 years, and it had 47 other issues that had to do with Civil War.
Yeah.
But you didn't necessarily have to read
No.
Civil War
And-
to do it.
and I think
they
I was with-
spread it out over 2 years to make you have to read those fucking
And I
episodes.
think I was with you, James, when it finally dropped issue 6. And we're both like,
I think
fuck
so.
did we
Like,
wait?
I think we
What's
went
why the
got
fuck
it,
did
and
we
it
wait
was,
for this?
I don't even remember what happened. Was it fucking what's
Nothing.
her name's
Nothing.
Skrull?
Nothing.
Captain America gives himself up.
Oh yeah, that's right. Captain
Yep.
America.
Does
he get shot, though?
Captain America gets
He gets
shot,
He gets shot.
and
yeah.
we just cut
Yep.
away. We got Sopranos before Sopranos.
But that he got like just gave himself up and was willing to
Yeah.
be sent off to the prison and like didn't get shot. And
He,
like, okay.
he realized he was on. He realized he might be on the side of wrong because he's Cap, and he gave himself up. And then they're like, "Wow, now the Civil War has ended." And then like, Cap gets shot by a rando, and it's just like it's done. And it's like whatever. It's really. The reason why it took 2 years to come out is because they had a great concept and they had no
Well,
ending.
that's the thing, though, is even if it wasn't ending that happened to be continued in a TV series or something where we were getting it more regularly, would it have been better? Yes. We talk about it all the time. How these shows need to go. Like the greatness.
Give us a good ending. Crisis on the Infinity Planets has a good ending. Long Halloween has a good ending. Give us a good ending. Like if you're gonna come up with a good concept, have it pay off.
But if we reviewed the first issue of The Long Halloween on this show, James Kopp, what do you think you would give the first issue of The Long Halloween? Like
3 out of 5.
About the same.
Probably 2.
And
like,
we've sucked that dick
I would
through
not
this whole
rate
episode.
high.
So you know what I mean? Like in the end, you might have given it much higher.
It's 5 out of 5. It's one of the best. It's like the Batman the Animated Series, like The Killing Joke, like The Return of the Dark Knight, The Long Halloween, and these are the best. Batman's been around for fucking like 80 years at this point. 80 years, motherfuckers, of media content. And I'm telling you, there's 4 or 5 times when this blew us away. Blew everyone away.
This is what I want to sell. I want to sell the 3 of us to Disney, Warner Brothers, Amazon. Okay? I want you guys to contact us. We'll do it on the cheap, okay? We don't need a lot of money, but we want some of your money. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at your shows that you have coming out. You're going to give us the beats that you have in your fucking show, and we're going to tell you how to release that show. Is it going to be a mini-series? It's going to be 3 2-hour events? Cool. Is it going to be something you're going to dump in an episodic thing? Cool. But we're going to tell you how to do it. And I think that this did it best because all 3 of us saw this in totally different forms. And we've given it between a 4 and a 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we are the target fucking audience for this. Okay? We are the target audience.
Clearly.
Like, we're going to go and we're going to do like we did on this episode. We're going to suck all the dick. We're going to tell you that it's the best. More people are watching
if you did
this
it right,
series.
Like, you did it right
because,
here.
Not because of
X-Men
us
97
necessarily,
did it
but
right.
because of so many people like us on the internet who are saying, hey, this is worth a watch. That no one would have known it was on Prime and it even came out.
Nobody would know it was on Prime, period, because it's Batman. And why would you think to look for Batman on Prime?
You wouldn't. You wouldn't look to think.
Motherfucker, some of us might have spent 20 minutes looking on an HBO app.
You could have seen 3 episodes.
Then,
I want James Cope to be put into the John Travolta meme of him just like looking around. It's like, where is this? Where am I? What is going on?
Yeah.
Again, that's what I had, where it was like, so, our fans aren't that stupid. Wrong, Warner Brothers, wrong.
Your fans who still expect you to release your own content for some reason. I'll agree with you, Warner Bros. I'm sorry, I'll agree with you. I'll apologize. We are stupid for still thinking that you care, even though you showed us nothing but disdain for the whole DC property for the better part of 50 years. We still think that you care, and that's on us. I admit it.
Yeah, our fault.
My bad.
It's our fault.
Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about what we are doing next week.
We got coming up. Next week, we are going to live watch Borderlands because, surprise, surprise, it drops on video on demand tomorrow because it's still before midnight.
All right, let's go over James's contract with Canoodle Studios.
We will provide
I don't watch Eli Roth shit, and I certainly don't watch video game shit. And next week we're watching an Eli Roth video game shit. Remarkable.
I think your contract got tossed somewhere, and we don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Hey, listen,
fair enough.
we will pay you even more than $0. We'll pay you
Nice.
100 times $0. How about that?
I want 0.00.
Okay, I'll put that on the check. 0.00.
100%.
Here you go.
100%. Yeah.
Jared's seen it. I have not. James has not. So 2 of us will watch it for the first time.
It's an Eli Roth movie. It's a pile of shit. I didn't see it, and I know it's a pile of shit. You know the one thing he's directed that's been good?
Nope.
It's the Thanksgiving
Oh, that's right,
trailer.
yes.
The Thanksgiving
You do-
trailer is amazing.
You do
It's a
realize he.
parody trailer in between Quentin Tarantino and
Here's
Robert Rodriguez's Grindhouse.
here's the thing. It's no longer a parody.
Yeah, they made it.
No, he directed it though.
Yeah, but he's just giving him credit for the trailer.
No, I understand. I was pointing out it's no longer a parody.
I don't. That motherfucker can't make. He made 2 minutes funny. He cannot make a 90 minutes funny, and we know this from everything he's ever done or said. So yeah.
But we'll actually find out next week when we do our watch along of the Borderlands. Canoodle Studios will provide Borderlands for you, James. So you don't have to spend a dime on Borderlands. How about that? You just have to watch it.
For all of you watching us, you don't feel obligated to right now spend the $20 to rent it. Just wait till it comes out later. Keep this episode on a tab or something somewhere that you can come back to it later and then watch it.
Maybe you already watched it.
Yeah,
maybe you already did.
Maybe. I doubt it, but maybe.
Maybe
I'll watch it. It might be on archive.com.
Maybe a guy who's not James Kopp will put a link in the comments next week.
Maybe.
That will allow you to watch this movie.
He's going to look for it.
You know what I mean?
All 21 days of it being released in theaters.
You can find a lot of the content at archive.com. Just mind the white supremacy stuff. There's a lot.
Yes.
There's an uncomfortable amount, and it's bad when I'm like, hey, there certainly is a lot of things pro-white on here. Like, as a white male, when the white males start going, like, maybe there's a little too much, you got a problem.
That's very true.
And the week after Borderlands, we are coming back with our apropos review of Tim Burton's Beetlejuice.
There it is.
The early reviews say it's good. Do we want to flip a coin? It looks like such a horrible.
Do I want to flip a coin on whether you think it's good?
Listen, it's gonna be at least a 2 out of 5.
I said, do we want to flip a coin on whether or not you think it's good? Because your opinion on movies is vastly different than our opinion on movies.
I'm gonna go the opposite of my general thoughts on because I feel like when I'm very firm that he's gonna hate something, he goes, actually, I fucking love this. 4.5 out of fucking 5 or some shit. So I'm gonna say that I think it's gonna be above a 3. That's my if I'm betting, if we're doing squares, whatever above a 3 is.
I don't like that young. I don't like. I'm old. I don't like that young kid. Ortega. I saw her in a thing I didn't like.
Wednesday was very good, but yes, the weird one with Simon Pegg, I didn't like.
So then the week after that, we are starting Agatha All Along, the new Disney Plus series, Marvel property.
We hope for good things.
Yes, we hope.
I have enjoyed what I've seen in the trailer so far, but then again, Disney has let us down with all that before too. But
it's also like, can Agatha hold a series? Like, it's more than just like Disney's let us down.
Actress can.
The actress can.
Did they write her
She's good.
Enough?
The concept's fun,
and we got
Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza too, like
Patti LuPone.
I will recommend to everyone go back and watch Legion. We watched Legion again. Legion is a fucking great series.
How many seasons is that? 3?
I think just 1.
Is it just 1?
Just one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought they had at least 2.
No, I don't think they ever finished past 1.
There were so many X-Men / Marvel ancillary projects being shown at the same time.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's still a good overall series.
Okay.
So, but Aubrey Plaza, obviously great.
Yep. So that's what we got going with the Agatha All Along. This is going to be 8 episodes, 7 weeks. Join us here on Canoodle Studios and find out, watch it.
That's right. Until then, I'm Smoking Fat Jay.
I am Matt Christy or Mattlepot.
I am Smoking Fat Mr. J.
I'm Oz what?
Matt Walda, Christy Pop.
Matt Walda Christy Pot.
And
And
Jamesel?
there we'll go. I'm too
The
drunk to
gentleman
see
Cope.
it, and I don't think it was shown to me anyhow. So.
James is the gentleman Cope.
Yeah.
with his
There you
Gentleman
go.
Cope.
with his
There you go.
disdain for all the poor.
Yes. Fuck you, poor people. We will see you guys.
There's a character that hates poor people. I love it. I no notes.
We will see you guys next week right here on Final Watch It. Peace.
Bye. I'm gonna shoot my grapple hook into the sky and take off. This will absolutely not fall and hit somebody.